Why other people's opinions don't matter as much as you think. So in my last video, I talked about how most people aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you think. But even when people do have opinions, the bigger question really is, how much should those opinions actually matter? Because if you let those opinions matter too much, then they can quietly kind of control your life, which is never good. So I want to dive into a couple points on why these opinions don't really matter. So the first point I want to make is most opinions are based on limited information that people have kind of been told by others, or just subtle judgments that they make about you in passing. People will form opinions about you on very small windows of your life when they don't really know the full situation, your background, your side of whatever story they may have heard, your goals, your intentions. And quite honestly, if these people are in your life and they do these types of things, they shouldn't belong in your life, because anybody that truly should be there would have enough common sense to kind of come and talk to you about whatever they might be hearing or their own opinions of you. And a lot of people don't even really want to do that. They'll make their opinion and they'll move on. And if that's what they choose to do, there's nothing you can really do about it. But trust me, those are people that you don't want in your life. Second point, people are usually projecting their own insecurities when they develop opinions about you. So it could be fear of failure, it could be some type of risk avoidance, it could be some type of jealousy, and it could be comfort. Because like I said, if people truly care about you and they form an opinion or they hear something, they're going to come to you, or they should come to you and talk to you. And it might not be the most comfortable conversation. And anything that's going to actually grow into something good requires a little bit of uncomfortable, like, feeling. So if they're not willing to do that, just nix them and kind of take control of your own life in the sense of not letting their opinions bother you or weigh you down. Um, a lot of people's opinions, like I said, are just truly reflections of their own fears and their own insecurities. A little bit of a personal example, I had some friends that are no longer in my life anymore kind of latch on to me because I was going in what I consider a good direction. I was getting ready to buy my first property. I have a good career. I'm very positive and what's the right word? Very positive and a promoter of just self-wellness, self-growth, that type of thing. And these individuals, I feel, latched onto that now that I sit back and reflect on it. And it was when they found out that I was moving to get my first rental property that they were super interested in my life. Looking back on things, they only latched on because of that. They didn't genuinely like me as a person, because before they knew that, it was barely anything. It was a hi, sometimes not even a how are you. So what I'm trying to say is basically those people wanted to latch on because they were insecure about their own goals and their own paths, and they wanted to leech off of that. It's not good to have in your life. Point number 3, most opinions that people have are temporary. So similarly to the last video when I said, people aren't really thinking about you as much as you think, it's kind of the same with the opinions. Opinions will stick around for a little bit longer, but give it like a month and guaranteed they're back to worrying about themselves and whatever is going on in their life, and you're an afterthought. And that's great, because their opinions at the beginning of the day don't matter, and the sooner they forget them, the less you got to worry about. You don't even really have to worry about anything to begin with, but everybody likes a clean slate. Nobody likes having people think poorly about them. It's hard to get over, but just don't let it have power over you. And yeah, people just genuinely move on quickly from things like that. I've noticed, at least in my 29 years, almost 30 years of existence. You'll sit there and talk to somebody and they'll have this big opinion about an individual, and then a month later, nothing. Or you see them you see whoever they're talking about walking past you and, hey, how are you? And just, yeah. Okay, well, it's clear that you've forgotten that opinion. So, yeah, they're gonna disappear. It's gonna expire, I guess you could say, and you don't really have to worry about it anymore. So the next couple points are going to be a little bit more of the direction I think you would want your life to go in. So, point 4, people that you want to be like usually aren't the type of people judging you. It's the people that, like I said, let their insecurities step in the way are the ones judging you. So people who are building something, people are growing that are growing themselves or something, people that are focused on their careers, their goals, their ambitions, things like that. They don't sit around and criticize people. You know, when I was younger, I did have a lot of opinions and I was very opinionated. I did the work, I did the therapy, I'm still in therapy. And I got my shit together, and going into my 30s, I'm a lot busier than I used to be. And I just have a clearer mind about things. Everybody's has their own struggles. Like I said, there's two sides to every story. If I genuinely like a person, I'm going to ask them if I hear something, what's going on. But at the end of the day, I don't really have time to sit around and just make empty opinions about people. I treat others like I want to be treated. It's very simple. The people that I do keep in my life are in some ways better than myself. And I think that's a great thing because it forces me to grow and they inspire me. And I can say for almost certain that those same people find things in myself that I am better at them at. So we help each other grow. It's a good circle. That's the type of stuff that you want in your life. Point 5, if you try and please everyone, you're eventually going to just lose yourself. You're going to live a life of confusion. You're going to live a life with a lack of direction. And you're going to live a life with frustration. And I speak on this point from a very, very personal place. I got wrapped up with the wrong woman last year. And I did a lot of, we'll just say, Mr. Fix It, because I thought I could fix things. I couldn't. And I put her in front of myself so much. And I eventually just found myself not enjoying the gym, not enjoying jujitsu, bringing a bad energy into the school, which is never good because I was just always depressed, empty. I lost a sense of my own purpose. I love helping people. I wasn't talking to anyone. I was isolating myself, and it just was not good. Moral of the story, if you're trying to live your life for everyone else or a specific person, you usually end up disconnected from what matters the most and what you actually want in your life. And that's not good. You want to live a life with a sense of purpose and a sense of direction, because at the end of the day, you will feel 1,000 times better when you have some type of direction and that sense of fulfillment within yourself. So, to close, the only opinions that should matter are opinions from people you respect, people that are living the life that you want to live, and people who actually know you as an individual or want to get to know you as an individual. The people that will come ask that side of the story or your side of a story, things like that. Not all opinions are created equal, and the key to deciding which ones are actually important, that is what's worth listening to at the end of the day. So to wrap all that up, again, most people's opinions are based on limited information. People are usually just projecting their own insecurities. Most opinions are temporary, so why would they even matter anyway? People that you want to be like, who are the more important people in your life, typically aren't going to be the ones judging you. They're going to be judging you in good ways, like trying to better yourself. They'll respect it. If you try and please everyone based on their opinions and you try to make things disappear because you just want to be a nice person and you want to try to help everybody and this and that and whatever, you lose sense of yourself and you lose your identity, and it's very hard to regain. Lastly, the only opinions that actually matter are people that are living the life that you want to live, people that you respect, and people who actually know you. Other people are always going to have opinions. That's just a part of life. But how much those opinions affect your decisions, that's completely up to you, and you need to make sure that they don't affect your decisions if those opinions aren't the ones that should matter. So if you've made it this far, please like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you have a great day. Thank you.